my friends, it's FPSRussia, and I thought I'd do a little Q&A video, a few questions from you guys, a few answers from me, and so I asked on Twitter, and here we go. So, first questions first. Nick Mantilla says, are you really Russian? No, of course not. No. And I think most people know that, but there's a lot of people who still don't. You know, we started this character like 4 years ago or something like that, and I really enjoy it. I really like doing the character. The main difference between Dimitri and Kyle is the accents, and it always has been. That's the thing, and a lot of people are confused about that. So there's this whole branch of people who think that FPSRussia is like a Russian Spetsnaz commando. You know, but when he's not making YouTube videos, he's parachuting in, and I don't know what he's doing in his spare time, but they have big ideas for what he's doing in his spare time. Then there's people who realize that, you know, it's Kyle, that I'm an actor, that I live in Georgia, that, you know, we've been doing this YouTube thing professionally for several years now. And then there's people all mixed in between, and it kind of became like Santa Claus in a way. There were all these fans who really believed in the character, and it seemed like it would take something away from them to not go forward with the character. And I'd always see people like, no, his name's Kyle, and I'm like, come on, you're ruining it for that guy. But it's been 4 years now, and I think most of you know it. So I think what I'm going to do moving forward is I'm going to stick with the character. Don't get me wrong. Like, there's never going to be a time when FPSRussia isn't a Russian guy who shoots machine guns and blows stuff up. But I think that being Kyle and being me and adding a little bit of that in could be good too. One idea that I had, this is kind of expanding a lot on your question, but one idea I had was there's this whole catalog of videos that I've done over the last 4 years, and there are some really, really good backstories behind them, you know, the things that went into filming them. And I've always wanted to do a video where I kind of voice over and be like, this is the trip where, you know, everything went wrong and we had to go and buy a car to blow up from a junkyard and everything didn't go right, and, you know, we drove a tank down the road and the police pulled us over. And I've always wanted to tell those stories, but it seemed funny doing it with the Russian accent and still in character, so I think it'd be cool to do some videos like that. But to answer your question, no, not Russian. The professional Russian thing has always been sort of an inside joke, and I thought people would get it, but they never did. Professional means you get paid for something, and Russian is pretty easy to understand, so I'm a professional Russian, not a real one. So let's go to the next question. All right, question number 2. This one's coming from Hema0_5. Very personal Twitter handle you got there. He says, how did you train to shoot like this? When did you start training? By the way, love the videos. Keep it up, smiley face. Thanks, glad you like the videos. I wouldn't say I trained to shoot any way at all. I just kind of grew up hunting and shooting with my dad. Depending on where you live in the world, and really where you live in this country in particular, guns are more or less prevalent. And here in Georgia, I really grew up shooting a lot. Like, even when I was 5 years old, 6 years old, I had a .22 pistol, you know, my dad over my shoulder showing me how to shoot. And long range stuff, you know, lots of deer hunting and stuff like that. And some people deer hunt and they consider, you know, 100, 200 yards long range. But for me, we shot long range a lot. We shot 500 plus yards. And I think that kind of tuned me, helped me be a little bit better shot. And we bought a 5-stand sporting clays range when I was like 16. So I shot a lot of sporting clays growing up. So doing that stuff helped me be a better shot. And I mean, if you look at a lot of the early videos, the guns that you see in them, things like the Ruger 44 Magnum pistols, the Benelli shotguns, that's all stuff from like my dad's collection. You know, it's stuff that he shot. And then later on, the show sort of took the different look of, you know, AR-15s and AKs and fully automatic shotguns. And slowly over time, I got more into that stuff. But early on, it was hunting stuff. And so I guess you could say that's how I got into shooting. So let's find another one here. Okay, question number 3. This one's coming from Ryan, aka ORL Orlando Magic 14. He says, what is the best gun for home defense? It really depends on your preference and your home, and you know, how prevalent some kind of attack on your home is going to be where you live. For me, like the gun that I keep handy, the gun that I keep ready in case I needed to defend my home for some reason, you know, some sort of burglar or home invader or something like that. It's a 12-gauge shotgun, and it's a Remington 870 because that's what I grew up with. The Mossberg is, in my opinion, just as good. It just depends on how you want it configured, where you want the safety to be, where you want the release to be. For me, it's the 870. I prefer the ergonomics of that, the aesthetics of that. Mossberg gets the same job done. Something about a 12-gauge shotgun, though. I just imagine if I'm the bad guy sneaking into some house late at night, he probably just wants a TV or something. He doesn't want to hurt anybody. But if he hears someone rack a 12-gauge shotgun,
he's just going to be filled with terror. He's going to get out of there and nobody's going to get hurt. And, you know, worst case scenario, if you actually had to shoot at somebody or shoot someone, Jesus, the shotgun, there's nothing more devastating. I mean, it really gets the job done no matter what you're using it for. So I'd go with a 12 gauge shotgun, probably the Remington 870, because that's just my preference. So let's see what else. Okay, question number 4. This is a good one. This has come from Stephen DA at SDAX55. What is the worst firearm you have ever shot? This one's pretty easy. Like, if you'd asked me what my favorite firearm was, it'd take me forever. I'd have to really think about it. But the worst firearm I've ever shot is without a doubt the UTAS UTS-15 12 gauge shotgun. It's a high capacity 12 gauge shotgun. I made a video with it a year or so ago, and I've never seen a gun as bad as this thing. It just fell apart in my hands. I actually had 3 of them for the shoot day to make sure that we didn't have any problems like that, and 2 of them literally just completely fell apart. Like, there's ball bearings and screws and springs just rattling around the inside of the mechanism. They're just really bad. My friend made a comment earlier, like, I wouldn't even give that to a bad guy. And it's true. So, worst gun I've ever shot, the UTAS UTS-15. Really bad shotgun. All right, question number 5. This is a good one. This one's from Paolo at LOPAO18. He says, flamethrowers or RPGs? That's an easy answer, to be honest. So, I've shot a few flamethrowers, and flamethrowers are awful to shoot. When you shoot a flamethrower, it feels like someone just opened like a 500-degree oven, like right in your face. Every time you hit that trigger and you shoot that napalm or that diesel out of that thing, it's so hot. Your face just feels like it's burning. It's not fun to shoot a flamethrower. I wouldn't want to shoot a flamethrower. Like, if there was one sitting here and they're like, hey, you want to shoot a flamethrower? But no, not really at all, because it's not fun to shoot a flamethrower. An RPG, on the other hand, there's a few ways to get your hands on an RPG. I've been looking at a few different ways to do it. One of them, and the most ridiculous one, is to go to some third world country and just pay to shoot an RPG. But then you're shooting like old Russian surplus stuff, and maybe you're paying $500 extra to shoot a water buffalo or something like that. And you never know when you're going to blow yourself up. So I'd like to shoot an RPG. I have no fear of shooting an RPG, and we may indeed shoot an RPG one day. But if I have my way, there won't be any more flamethrower going on. So the answer is RPG for sure. All right, so this is question number 6. This one's coming from Matthew Wozniak. He says, if you could only take one gun with you for the zombie apocalypse, what would it be and why? I think that's a pretty easy one too. I've done a lot of thinking into this. I've put a lot of thought into it. So I think it doesn't take anything more than a 22 to kill a zombie. So I think a silenced 22. But with one caveat. So I think the problem in the zombie apocalypse isn't going to be the zombies. I think they're going to be really easy to deal with. If you watch The Walking Dead, I watched it, and I'm like, yeah, just shoot them all. It'll be over. I think the real people, the living people, the people who are out there trying to steal your weapons and ammo and food and gasoline and vehicles, those are going to be the real threat in the zombie apocalypse. So we were talking earlier, I think maybe an AR-15 for the real people who are trying to take your things away, and like a suppressed 22 for the zombies. I think if you've got that kit, you can handle yourself really well. The zombies aren't going to hear a suppressed 22, and it's plenty good to kill a zombie. So there's your answer on that one. And that's come from someone who's put a lot of thought into this. So when the zombies come, and they will, that's the kit you want. So let's move on. All right, question number 7. This one is coming from @Duran1. He says, how much fun is doing the show? Doing this show is a lot of fun. I think I might have the best job in the world, to be honest. I really enjoy what I do. I film near my home a lot of times, so I don't have to, do a 9 to 5 type thing. Sometimes we get to travel, so I get to travel all around the country, and it's meeting cool people, shooting all kinds of cool weaponry, all kinds of cool targets, touring gun factories and doing cool stuff that I really enjoy like that. And it's really, really fun. Now, there are days where that 5-minute video that you see online, what you have to keep in mind, might have taken 2 or 3 days of work. Lots of setup, lots of organizing targets, traveling around, getting them together. There are videos that have just had huge budgets. So some of my YouTube videos cost a couple $1,000s to make. There have been YouTube videos where like the overall budget was $500,000, like the quad rotor video. So it's a lot of fun doing what I do. It is really stressful because for some reason, when I lay my hands on a gun, a lot of the times I'm unlucky. It'll fall apart in my hands. A gun that's been tested super rigorously before it came to me all of a sudden has lots of gremlins, lots of issues and bugs. So that aspect of it can be a bit stressful, but overall, encompassing the whole thing, I love my job, and I do think it's the best job in the world. And I just wanted to thank you guys, because I can't do it without you guys. You know, if nobody's watching, then it's not a job anymore. So big thanks to all of you guys who continue to support the videos by liking them, sharing them, telling your buddies about them. Those guys on Twitter who like helped make this video work, those guys on Facebook. So thanks to all of you guys. We're about to start a whole, we're really going to accelerate things. I've got a lot of cool projects and cool plans coming up soon. So definitely stay tuned. There's a lot of cool stuff coming. And if you want to see more videos like this one, like some sort of video with me talking to you about the way things work, these Q&A videos, maybe it's a sort of a gun discussion video if you had really specific gun questions, I'd be happy to do that. So let me know in the comment box if you'd like to see more stuff like this, because I am curious about what you guys think. And hope you guys enjoyed the video. And as always, have a nice day.